Welcome back, everyone. This is Austin here at 2F by C Tactical. Going to give you a little bit of an update on a case that came out of the Fifth Circuit as it pertains to alcohol, but will have implications in the Second Amendment. So let's dive into that today. All right, guys, so sorry about the delay in videos. It's been crazy busy. I went on vacation and the backlog is kind of insane. Haven't had time to get in the studio, which is why you're going to see me here in my office. We definitely have a nice teaser that we put out on something we're going to be doing on Rumble. It's going to be a Rumble exclusive. I'm hoping to have that up by next week. I'm so sorry about the delay on that. But today, let's dive in, just take a brief moment and talk about this McNutt versus U.S. Department of Justice case. Now, why is this important? So, first off, let's back up. What is this ruling? This ruling is on whether or not the federal government has the power to tax home distilling of alcohol. So, the question is whether or not basically the federal government can restrict home brewers. That's the idea here. Now, this is going to sound very familiar to gun owners because we have a thing called the National Firearms Act, right? Something that makes it so you and I can't exercise our Second Amendment rights as it pertains to suppressors, short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns, machine guns, and destructive devices by implementing a tax of $200. Yes, I know that went to $0 recently for a few of those items, but this is what the law originally did, is make a $200 tax in order for you and I to exercise that right, and also a registration requirement of those items. And this was backed up in 1936 with the Sonzinsky case, where the Supreme Court, 1937, the Sonzinsky case, where the Supreme Court ruled that you can keep the National Firearms Act. I should say the federal government can keep it because it's just a pure taxation a law, and the registration isn't a gun registry. It's just a collection of taxes paid on the items. Now, we all know that that's bullcrap. We're all very aware that that's bullcrap. And that's where this case is very interesting because it answers the underlying question about whether or not the federal government can use the power of the purse, the taxing power, to implement restrictions on rights. Now, this isn't something new, and you should definitely go check out our news section because we write about this kind of stuff. This is something that the Supreme Court has actually ruled against multiple times, and this is going back to the 1930s. There's Harper versus the Board of Education in 1966 that overturned poll taxes. It says that poll taxes are unconstitutional because you can't put a financial barrier on a right. There's, I'm going to mispronounce this, I'm sure, but Grosjean versus American Press company, which again says that the taxes on targeting newspapers, specific industries, they're protected by the First Amendment. Therefore, you can't have specific taxes on them. There's Murdock versus Pennsylvania, 1943, which again is saying that taxes on distributing any religious material are unconstitutional. Where does all this come into firearms, though? The reality is the U.S. government is using tax power, which is putting a legal barrier that you and I cannot meet or financially strains us to exercise something that is guaranteed to us under the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights aren't saying that the federal government allows this activity. The Bill of Rights is saying the federal government cannot restrict this activity because it is endowed by our Creator certain unalienable rights. These are the principles of the Declaration of Independence coming into fruition in the Constitution. Definitely check out our video on Thomas Jefferson, who wrote the Declaration of Independence, and something that we just did a video on, and we're going to be doing this American Heroes series here as we go along. But the reason why I bring this up in this particular case is the Fifth Circuit overturned a 158-year-old law that made it so that you and I couldn't distill at home because the government was worried about tax evasion. So they were trying to restrict something that you and I may not even be doing. Maybe we just want to make alcohol at home just for ourselves for fun, right? We're not trying to sell it or anything like that. We're just having a hobby. Well, the government came in and says you cannot do that. Hey everyone, quick pause in the video to give a shout out to our channel sponsor, Patriot Mobile. Now, I have been with Patriot Mobile for 2 years personally,
and I cannot be happier with my service. I have the unplugged phone that I got because of Sean Ryan's podcast, but they have every phone you could want. And as the only Christian conservative wireless provider on the market, they put their money where the mouth is, which is supporting the rights that you and I enjoy, including the Second Amendment, which is what we're all about here at 2FYC Tactical. So please give them a consideration for switching. We are all using phones and mobile wireless all the time. So why not support a company that supports you? Using the code shall not for shall not infringe, you can save over at Patriot Mobile, and there will be a unique link code down below. So please go check it out. Now back to the video.
This is something that we obviously know with firearms. This is something that they do all the time. They try to put in these regulations, these taxes, so you and I cannot exercise our rights. There's already an 11% excise tax on all firearms and ammunition in the United States. I would make the argument that that is illegal under the Constitution. And of course, when you get into the National Firearms Act, you're talking about extra $200 on each and every item moving forward. These are the kind of cases that we should be paying attention to. While not expressly a Second Amendment case, it's stacking that precedent over and over and over again, making it endemic to our legal system and removing power from the federal government. I think we all can agree that the federal government, whether it's the First Amendment, Second Amendment, or anything, has entirely too much power. The restrictions on you and I, the American citizen, have never been more burdensome than they are today. And the cost of things is just crushing, right? Well, these are the kind of things that start chipping away at that governmental control. And we need to applaud those who do take up this mantle and push it forward. This will be a great case to take up to the Supreme Court to make this nationwide. I'm sure that there will be an appeal. I would be shocked if the federal government doesn't appeal this, just because, again, the feds love to defend every piece of power that they have. But again, precedent upon precedent upon precedent. And when we say the Bruin standard, I do want to reiterate this text, history, tradition. Everyone acts like, and I say everyone, the anti-gunners act like this is some new wave idea. This isn't how we treat anything else. This was literally used in this case. This was text, history, and tradition on something that's not a constitutional right. The truth is, courts do that kind of standard all the time. What was the meaning of the statute at the time? What is the historical understanding of that statute at the time? What was it trying to do, and does it violate certain rights that are laid out in the Bill of Rights? That's how the courts treat almost every other right except the Second Amendment. So again, applause to the Fifth Circuit by them applying that standard, even when it doesn't apply to firearms. So we definitely want to applaud them. So we always need to remember that taxation cannot be used as a tool to eliminate or suppress lawful conduct. That is the key tenet of this case. That is what we need to press moving forward. So again, I'm going to say this again, support those who support you, whether it be NAGR, NRA, IOA, the Second Amendment Foundation, FPC, here in Minnesota, Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus. Support those who are fighting for your rights, who will take stuff like this and apply it to the Second Amendment. Keep tuning in, guys. We have a lot more coming. Please like, comment, subscribe. Head over to the Rumble channel. Give us a follow. We're continuing to grow and bring you a lot of news, exciting things. And I can't wait to see you on the next video. Have a good one.